Hello, Confirmation Mentors. This is a guide to habit number 5, sharing your time, talent, and treasure, really just a focus on stewardship. The primary focus of this meeting will be either focusing on how the candidates share their time or their money. For most of them, time would be the better one to focus on because that's what they have the most kind of struggle with right now. Most of them don't have enough of a job to be working too much on budgeting, but you'll start out with prayer, ask how they're doing, what's been going on since the last time you met, review their vision and values, so you might want to remind them ahead of time to bring that with them if they haven't been, and then choose either to go over you versus the clock to focus on time or money makeover plan to focus on kind of budgeting. Talk about the holes that exist in the habit, and then plan action steps for next time and close in prayer. So I'm going to spend more time going over the you versus the clock in detail, and then just kind of briefly go over the budget. For you versus the clock, you'll be starting with the candidate listing their have-tos, want-tos, and goals. So what do they have to do? Their family, school, they have to sleep, their eating and hygiene. What are the things they have to do there? What are the things they want to do? Activities, they're kind of just chill time when they just have time to themselves to hang out and relax. Then choose some short-term goals and some long-term goals. Next, they'll create a time budget. So for like a day, looking at those have-tos and want-tos, what does that look like in a day? How much time do each of those take? Then they'll move into a daily schedule and weekly calendar. So the daily schedule, there's two options, either this grid or the circle pie chart here that each slice is 30 minutes, and in the grid, each rectangle represents 30 minutes. And so they would look at what they put in their daily schedule and write in the time that they start something. So if they start something at maybe they wake up at 7 o'clock to have breakfast, maybe time would be 7 o'clock, eat breakfast. 7:30, brush teeth, get dressed, all that kind of stuff could be in there. Then they go to school, then, they're at school from, 7:45 to whatever time they finish up, and putting all those things in. And then once they've gotten a daily schedule down, you can take a moment and talk a little bit about that and see if anything surprises them with the amount they spend on certain things and that kind of thing. Then you can look at moving into the weekly planner. So writing down their daily schedule for each day of the week. And once they've done that, then it's really a time to go over these questions for filling in the holes. Looking at that week, what does it look like their priorities are? Is that what they want their priorities to be? Are the things they're doing meaningful, and are these choices they're making, or are they kind of made for them to make other people happy? And how is God fitting into their schedule? Now, they may not be writing down, active like prayer, but, are they praying before their meals? Are they praying before their practices, their tests, that kind of thing? Do they want to put something in their schedule each day for prayer, just to help keep them grounded and keep them focused on God? How are they serving? Is service a regular part of their schedule? And then what's distracting them most from having a relationship with Christ? Are they spending too much time, on Netflix or Instagram or YouTube or playing video games? Not that they shouldn't ever spend time on those things. Those are good for helping us to kind of let loose a little bit and relax, but are they doing more of that than they should? Then we have a few scripture verses that you can discuss. Choose a couple of them to focus on. Maybe if you have time, go through all 4. Then talk about action steps for the next time. What are their boundaries? Do they need to put more boundaries in to be happier with their schedule and to be more focused on what they really need to want to do and to achieve their goals? And then what are some ways they can incorporate some of these spiritual habits they've been talking about throughout confirmation prep into their schedule, and talk about how it affects you and how these things make a difference for you. And then you would close in prayer, finish talking about anything, make sure you set up a meeting for next time. Now, if you choose to do the money makeover plan, this really goes through starting out with what are their priorities? What are the first things that are most important in their lives? By doing this activity where they choose 10 things that they love the most, then they have to kind of slowly pare that list down to what the most important thing is. And the goal is to see that, God is all we need in the end. Now, we love having our family and our friends, and they're important in our lives, and we have to attend to those relationships. But if God isn't first, that can throw everything out of whack. So then looking at 5 questions to help us making big purchases. So talking about what are some bigger items that they really would like to have. And then going through these 5 questions as far as would you buy it tomorrow if you were to wait overnight and had time to think about it? Should you take time to research, or is it kind of an impulse thing? Then is the item a need or a want? What are their motives? Sometimes it's just short term, but other things can help with lasting joy, which usually just comes from within. Then 3, do you understand the item? Is it something you're just getting to tell other people you have, or is it something you really will enjoy and will use? Then number 4, is there something else you could use your money for that would be better? What are some other things, long-term goals you have that if you spent money on this, you're going to have to put that other goal out further? And ask for other people's opinions. Seek counsel. It's so important that we talk to other people, because what if you talk to somebody who's purchased this item and said, it wasn't what I thought it was, or talking to your parents that, hey, you've got this thing coming up soon that you're going to want to have money for. Maybe you should save it for that. Then go through the teen budget sheet. Looking at what's their total income, and then in each category, fill in an item that they would like, and then add up all the expenses, subtract from income, and see, the goal is a zero balance budget, but we all, struggle with that. But what we mainly want to do is make sure they're not going over their budget. So if they're under, then they can put more into savings or giving and that kind of thing. So you can see the different categories here: charitable gifts, food, transportation, personal, entertainment, recreation, saving, debt, if they have a credit card, or car payment if they're paying on a car that they might have recently purchased. So go over that, talk about it a little bit, and then kind of look at these ideas of, do they agree or disagree with these points about money, why or why not, going into budgeting and giving. And we'll talk about those in a moment. The second question, where do they feel money controls them the most? Where they worry about it, if they have enough? And then how do they think money affects their relationship with God? So some things for them to think about is the idea that when you love money, you're left powerless. Loving God empowers, and we've got quotes from Scripture for each of these. Faith in money leaves me insecure. Faith in God secures me in heaven. Giving proves that I recognize God as the rightful owner, that what I have truly is not my own. It's all fleeting, and it belongs to God, and I should use that to serve Him. Then, talk about these ideas of, have they talked about tithing with their parents? What do they think is the biggest obstacle to starting, their giving? And what's the biggest challenge? Is it giving cheerfully, giving without recognition, so in secret, or expecting God's blessings, expecting something in return? And so go over those 3 points with them and talk about those a little bit. Then for them, before next time, share with them about your struggles with tithing, how that's changed over the years, and budgeting, and how important it is, and how that can affect things in your lives. And Be patient with them because this is a new thing, and even we know as adults, a lot of us struggle with budgeting and how much to give and how much to save and spend and all of that. So after going through that, again, just kind of summarize, close in prayer, and make sure you've scheduled a time to meet for next time. So thank you so much for all you do. Don't hesitate to send me questions through email, and just know that you are appreciated for all that you do with these candidates. God bless.